Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome to the December energy theme recap. I'm going to be recapping in about 10 minutes the energetic themes of December, what kind of happened, and what's carrying us forward into January as well as the next upcoming year. The first thing that I noticed in the beginning of December was the transition period between the previous month and the current month, and specifically because December houses a solstice, not just any solstice, the winter solstice does hold a lot of power in the energetic shift, reset, and rebirth of the collective all. It's that period where we kind of nestle in our own little caves like a hermit and give ourselves the ability to be reborn again by the time spring comes, so that in summer we can take action. I noticed during the beginning of the month for me specifically, how the chaos energy and a lot of the themes of the relationships with greed and gluttony were coming through in the beginning of the month, and how every time during this year before a solstice shift, not just the winter but also the summer, we are tested with the 7 deadly concepts and how we're going to play into them, how we're going to react to them, whether we're experiencing them or noticing those around us experiencing them, and how do we contribute to finding the light and being a beacon of light. Moving forth to the middle of December, what I noticed in my own personal life was deep energetic clearing and cleansing, and a lot of the stages of grief, and going through the anger stage of grief a lot. Grieving the old self, the old life, things that I know I'm going to have to leave behind in the year of 2024, or leave behind to enter the year of 2024, including being stuck in dark night of the soul. One thing that's not often communicated is that in the dark night of the soul, we do kind of get attached to that feeling, to that experience, and that identity. And when we're breaking away from it and we are entering into our state of light, as that is part of going through different upgrades and ascensions, when we are moving out of it, we do feel the stages of grief, the denial that it's over and, oh, things are finally going to go okay. We're going through those experiences. And the anger state is the one that's the hardest to get out of, because the anger and depression state kind of teeter-totter between each other. I'm going to use these crystals as examples. The clear quartz is the anger state, and the selenite is the depression state. And they just keep moving and cycling within each other before you can reach the acceptance that is in the ametrine crystal. Oh, that's not ametrine. I grabbed the wrong one. Ametrine crystal. I guess tourmaline actually works even better for the acceptance in this, using them as examples, but I know ametrine is going to come forth in the middle of January, that energy, so stay tuned for that color frequency reading coming out tomorrow, because it's a good one. Anyway, so we're going in between these two, and acceptance is just kind of hanging below till we're ready to push it to the center. And even when we've reached acceptance, these other ones are going to come and like knock it in. Anger, depression, anger, depression, and that was in the middle part of the month of December. And do I think that's going to carry us forward? Yes, because the stages of grief and grieving the old are definitely going to come forth a lot in the beginning of the year, especially because we're shifting seasons. We're shifting solar new year, lunar new year, astrology new year, start of spring, start of summer. We are experiencing new all the time. And specifically in the year of 2024, I can already feel it in my heart center that there is going to be a shift. We are going to be shifting into the balancing energy of the divine masculine and divine feminine, and that was another massive theme that was happening within the month of December, was identifying what is the divine feminine versus the dark feminine aspect that is masquerading as the divine feminine, same for the masculine. The best way to describe it is that for the divine masculine, if we think of religion, for example, as the divine masculine, or beliefs in God, Jesus, those things in the Bible, divine masculine. Well, the false masculine, or the dark masculine, are the beliefs and the ideas that fully isolate and basically massacre those who have different beliefs than you. That's like in the dark masculine. You're trying to create a reality where you reign supreme, and that's in the egoic self. So that's the dark masculine that came forth a lot in the year of 2023, and I'll, touch on the year of 2023 in the next segment. But specifically in December, we were seeing kind of the results and the effects of that. What I can already feel happening towards the end of the month of December, and what did happen as a visual that I received, a vision that I saw in this month, was the dark feminine. So the dark feminine, spirituality, like let's say divination, like your cards, spirituality, channeling, things like that. There is obviously the light version of that. Your spirit team is light beings guiding your spirit, There's the light aspect of it. Energetic healing, connection to the divine, connection to Christ consciousness and source. There is the light aspect. There's also the dark aspect of it. Dark magic. Things that can masquerade themselves as good. Trying to attract material things instead of listening to that, law of releasing attachment to materialism to ascend. So that's very much a theme I noticed because I received a vision. I received a vision where I was doing a channeling in the vision for somebody who came forth and was very much showing dark feminine energy. And not in a, oh yes, she's slaying, whatever, those things. No, like in dark magic trying to drain away the light energy vampire, where I saw it within my whole body, the light, the color drained from life. Seeing it in her life and then in mine, the color in my veins draining. I'm gonna have to turn off this human device because I didn't realize it was gonna be making noise. But the color in my own body systems draining, seeing the red color of blood turn into nothing, just all the color erased. And with that, all the inspiration, all the creativity, everything that comes from the divine feminine aspect that can aid your divine masculine self erased because of the face of dark femininity and false femininity. We talk a lot about the false masculine, where it's too engaged in politics, too engaged in control, too engaged in ruling. We never really talk about the false feminine. And because we're going to be, and we have already transitioned, but that's going to carry us forward into January and the next year as well, transitioning into the age of the divine feminine more, there are going to be more tests of the false feminine coming forth. And in the masculine age that we were in and we're going to transition to in the future, we're going through these tests. In a lot of ways, the dark masculine, the negative polarity side of the masculine frequency, the false masculine, had more control. It won. It was the more dominant face. As we started to transition into the age of the divine feminine, the divine masculine showed its face, finally, its true self. And masculine healing is able to take place. We are trying to avoid that in this silver age, this lunar age. So, that happened. That's a very massive thing carrying us forward that I noticed in this month. And as well as when I did the winter solstice clearing and cleansing, protection, and the beginning of that channeling that I know that a lot of people saw, so thanks for the support on that, because that was my first time kind of allowing downloads of protections or clearings or cleansings to come through from connecting with the dragon frequency, and we're entering the year of the dragon in February, so definitely more stuff with the dragons coming forth in the future, because they are powerful cleansers of the earth. When I did that, that's when I received that vision. That's when I also received a vision of fragmented pieces of myself, where they were trapped. I was able to heal and call them back to myself and heal all of those wounds that I didn't even know that I had because those pieces of myself were missing. And that's gonna carry us forward into January, that energy of all of those missing pieces coming back. And we set the intention that only with, light and love do they come back, no negativity. What that means is basically no one else's energy. Because if you experienced a trauma, there's nothing negative about a trauma. Now, it is negative that someone abused you, of course, but what you experienced wasn't something negative, wasn't something that there's something wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with experiencing abuse and trauma. It's not your fault that you experienced it. It's what happened. And when you call that back, you might remember these suppressed things. Well, we're gonna keep going. We're going past 10 minutes. Time frequency, it's okay. What you are doing is I lost my train of thought when that went off. That's probably why it's not good to have alarms and things. That's why I don't wake up with alarms, because it like really like can cause a disbalance in your soul and chakra system, and that's definitely moving forward is like being less reliant on technology, and that's kind of why I received the message to do that, because have a timer so that divine timing, Elfian elementals can be like, hey, your internal clock knows, is understanding of time. You don't need to have all of these technology things telling you what to do. Definitely a theme carrying us forward. Anyway, back to the suppressed traumas. It's necessary to heal them. So they're gonna come forth, and there's nothing negative with them. Believe that that's it. And I know I kind of talked pretty fast, so for my viewers in other countries who speak other languages, I'm sorry. But definitely December brought a lot of change, and because we are at the end of the year of the water rabbit, the year of change, the year of rebirth, and because the solstices are the energy of rebirth, and because we're entering into a more dragon-led year. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Phoenix-Dragon relationship in the next segment, but I do want to end this one with a card pull, just like final concluding messages from December to kiss us goodbye as we enter into the new month of January, because yes, it's a new year, but it's also a new month, and so we have to acknowledge that January is just as significant as the new year beginning and give love to it. So the energy of self-confidence. So it says possesses self-confidence. It is important moving forward to stay firm in your self-confidence, because these stages of grief that we go through, the tests with the 7 deadly concepts and with the divine feminine and masculine versus the dark feminine and masculine, those tests that we experience when we continually choose the light, it can be something traumatic for us to experience, because we're having to let go of something that maybe we believed in so strongly, or let go of something that was a huge part of our identity and ourselves. So having self-confidence in who you're becoming is key in the month of January, key carrying us forward into January. And with that, let's talk about 2023 and the wrap-up of that energy, because 2023 was a very impactful year for the ascension of the collective all. Okay, 2023. So let me talk about the Dragon-Phoenix relationship, because how I see the year of the rabbit is also the year of the Phoenix, the year of the rebirth energy. And as a result of that, it makes sense that the following year will be the dragon, because in a lot of cultures and a lot of history and folklore and even in spirituality and our awareness of what's going on with higher realm energy, with the tree of knowledge energy, the dragons, the flame of truth energy, the phoenixes, they are considered soulmates. They balance each other. They're the yin to each other's yang. So the year of the water rabbit that started, obviously not in the beginning of the solar year, so eventually I'll do a recap of the lunar year too. But the year of the water rabbit, the majority of 2023 was influenced by rebirth and the rabbit energy and the phoenix energy. So in this concluding month of the year that we are ending today, we were experiencing a lot of that residual rebirth stuff, the last things we need before we enter this next solar year. Phoenixes and dragons are also associated with the solar frequency, so it makes sense that they're going to make their presence known when there is a solar shift, like a new solar year. The dragon energy is when you are standing in your self-confidence and you are starting to become your actualized self, your authentic self. we were finding our truest authentic self in the past year. We were rebirthing into our resilience, bouncing back from traumatic experiences, healing, that healing energy. A lot of the divine femininity that the Phoenix can represent is tuning into healing, releasing, rebirth. If I look at my whole year of 2023, each month housed something that I had to be reborn because of, something I had to heal and become new as a result of that experience. Whether it was letting go of conferences and people and experiences and groups and organizations that just weren't, not that it didn't serve me anymore, but more or less that it was not a part of my calling anymore. It wasn't my inspiration anymore. I didn't belong there anymore. It wasn't a truly harmonious connection anymore. And that's okay, and that happens. It doesn't matter if you're finding that in your family connections or with people you have known the majority of your life, who you've shared lifelong friendships with, but just something isn't clicking anymore. We're entering into the age of truly harmonious connections, and so letting go of those that aren't allow you and the other person to find your truly harmonious connections, and thus your soul tribe, your spirit tribe, those people who share your like-minded mission and purpose and inspiration for life. So, it was definitely a major theme. Moving forward, we're going to step into that high priestess powerful period. The dragons are more associated with the divine masculine frequency and masculinity, but with a hint of course, the divine femininity, the same way the phoenix is, because they are the yin to each other's yang. One represents the yin and one represents the yang, and thus there is both frequencies in one, even though one frequency might be more dominant than the other. And that is also an energy carrying us forward into the new year, is that we are experiencing both things, the light, the ascension, the connection, the healing, connection to source, as well as all of these negative polarity things happening at the same time in our reality, because we live in a reality with a polarity, and we're going to experience those things. It's just, how do you react to those things? And your reactions are a test of where you are in your development journey, but your reactions are not negative. It's just a test. Okay, well, this is where you're at, and we can try again later. It's not a test where there's negative consequences or you're going to fail at life if you don't pass them, but it's just going to help the team of higher beings that guides your soul understand where you're at in your journey. It's going to help your angels know where they need to step in and maybe do a divine intervention because you're still learning something. And it's also going to help your spirit team know what visions and visuals to show you, what signs and symbols from your messenger guide team and signs and symbols team to come forth to you, what kind of connections and people you'll meet, how ready you are to meet members of your soul tribe and your soul mates, how ready you are to connect with souls that you have contracts with, or crystalline energy or plantation energy, how ready you are to move and leave the life that you were living behind to start something new. That's how they gauge how to better assist you on your journey, and that's how you as yourself, as a soul within a body, can identify how ready you are for certain experiences. And that kind of self-actualized awareness can be jarring, because you're very much aware that you are a soul in a body and you're experiencing this lifetime once, but you know that you're infinite as a soul. And you know that every experience is a determining factor of where you're at in your journey. And sometimes you might try to rush it because you want this other experience, because there's that desire that comes with having an ego where you want things. You want things a little bit too much sometimes, but that's okay, because when you incarnate in the physical, that egoic self is going to be there. Biggest thing that I learned throughout the year of 2023 is the relationship with the egoic self and how to use it as an aid, not as something you're fighting against. It's a part of you, and overcoming it isn't trying to kill it, but it is becoming aware of the fact that it's going to influence your life sometimes, it's going to try and test you, and it's doing its purpose and its mission to help you become a better soul. Because if you didn't have that egoic voice in your head trying to test you, trying to tempt you, and you didn't overcome it every time, then how are you developing without having something, to learn, some experience to have? And so not treating it as a pest, more as it's just a necessary obstacle in my journey, and eventually I will be able to live without it. But right now, I kind of need it in a way. I need it to test me and to prove to myself, because it is a part of me in the physical, to prove to myself that I've overcome all of these things. I'm using an example that happened to me in this month of December. If you have listened to my podcast or heard me talk before, I experienced a dog phobia, a phobia of my kinship animal, which is very ironic, but considering the fact that I love literature and poetry and all of those things in this lifetime, makes sense. So there's a lot of ironic things that have happened in my life, because it does cause me to pay attention to things more. It was a very interesting experience, because it was the reaction that the ego trained me, and then how I actually am as a soul, that came forth within 1 second. I turn a corner, my human job, and there's a service dog, and it looks like it's a poodle. And my new service animals are what the Elfian realm call Novian spirits, meaning that they are of service to humanity, and they work to help us grow and develop and assist us during difficult times. And they've also labeled me as one, and that's why kinship, but there's a lot of different Novian spirits, and there's a lot of different Novian spirits in humans and in animals. So maybe you are one watching this now. We do tend to call each other forth, so we could all be sitting in this space and all be one, and be one of those spirits who have that like-minded mission and purpose of service to help and assist. So seeing it, and the egoic response of walk away fast, and I had that walk away, and then I was like, no, what am I doing? Turn around, walk back, and stand right next to it. And then just being excited to be around it. There's my nature as a soul, just excited to be around it, and helping the lady, who had it, like, find the thing she was looking for, and talking to her, and developing a connection with the human who is, having the service animal with her. And realizing that me, and realizing me walking like that, that's the ego judgment. That's the ego judgment of an animal, and of a person even. Just go away. And I had multiple test experiences with service animals within the past few months, with service dogs, just seeing how I react. And when I stood and it's walking around me, and he's doing nothing, and it's fine because he's of service to that human, he has a soul contract with that soul, and he's working with that soul for a reason. He's not gonna be interested in anybody else. When I had that moment, I realized exactly our relationship with the egoic self and our truest self, and how it manifests in little experiences that we have, and how that's been the entire theme of the entire year. And what's carrying us forward is breaking free from reacting from that lower self to reacting from that higher self, even if that means at first you react from the lower self, to realize as your highest self, as your authentic self, what version of you you're acting from, and changing it. And specifically in relation to fear and overcoming fears and anxieties, and developing confidence moving forward. So that's my best recap of the year of 2023. Energetically, it's more concise because the individual months have complexity, but when you look at the overarching theme between every single month, you can get a more concise vision of what was actually happening energetically for all of us, and what is that final message to carry us forward. So, I'm going to do another card pull to see if there's anything else that I may have missed thematically from the year of 2023. So let's see. By the way, the cards that I am using are the messages from the Guides Transformation cards by James Van Praagh, and I just feel like it's very fitting considering the fact that the elves work with ascension a lot, and in the realm of inspiration we do work with the ascension frequency, and transformation is a type of ascension, as well as just they work to have little small messages that can make things a little bit easier for my intuition to kind of take control, like just trigger words. One flew on the floor, so let's grab that one because that definitely has a message. So, everyone has value. Yes, everyone has value. Everyone, everything, every experience. I can very much see that when I look throughout the entire year. We all hold so much value. We all have a mission and purpose. And the elves kind of changed their mission statement when we are doing fairs to help people. It's not just delivering messages for the sake of delivering messages, but for inspiring people, revealing to them their why, their reason for being, their mission and their purpose, and inspiring them to complete their how. What messages, what guidance, what support to help lead them down the path that's for the betterment of their ascension and to help them feel spiritual joy and soul fulfilled. And they changed that mission statement halfway through the year when they were telling me that's what we're doing. That's what it is. That's the meaning. That's the rhyme, rhythm, reason is that. And to remind everybody that you hold value, you hold a purpose, and every experience holds value in different ways to teach us and grow. And I think of what happened with the jellyfish incident, and it's not really just, the sting and then afterwards. It's more, I was recording a video, I was doing a channeling, and I was fully in spirit, but I felt that calling, that message to go, to get out of the water in just the right amount of time. And the messages that I received, and I realize now that those messages were for me, and later I was able to interpret them and deliver them in a different way to the collective, in a way that it was coming from me and not just a channeling, to show that when you are a channeler, you're receiving messages, that you are more than just what is coming through, more than just a channel. You are you, and you also have unique things to share. And that's something that the elves, they took a step back for a little while just to kind of tell me, like, you can connect and you can hear, you're clairaudient, you can receive messages from other higher beings, you can receive messages from plants and from crystals. You don't just have to be a channel, you are yourself. And also, heavily encouraging me to connect to Source more, to connect to the angels more, to connect to God more, so that I edited my protections and my prayers and my mantras throughout the year, because of the encouraging factor that we hold a value as an individual, and not just what is coming through us, and not just the words that we say, but who we are. And when thinking about the struggle of trying to get that video, and then just feeling like that's not how it was meant to reach the collective. And knowing that things are going to reach the collective exactly how they're meant to, and things are going to reach you exactly how they're meant to reach you. So, let's just do one more. And I love when the cards fly out. Let me just... I was like, let me just pull one, but they heard I love it. And they're like, you know what? You love it. Oh, perfect. These actually are perfect. Have an attitude of gratitude. That's what November taught. November and October, when you're grateful. And when I was feeling at my lowest point in September, I was feeling very much like that separation from where I felt, inspired and powerful and myself. The attitude of gratitude, I did a 30-day gratitude practice, and it helped elevate my energy. So I'm starting that in the year of 2024. I got a guided gratitude journal. I found one, I was gifted a gift card, and I went to a store and it was there, and I felt like that's exactly why I was gifted this gift card, was to find this gratitude journal and use it in the upcoming year instead of daily affirmations, to try something else. So I encourage you to do that as well. Just to every day think of one thing you're grateful for, and that can carry us forward, because at my lowest points throughout the entire year, gratitude helped elevate, of course. And be yourself. Be yourself no matter what anyone has to say, because if somebody sending negativity to you, judgment to you in any way, that's their karma. But you being yourself, that is self-love, that is self-compassion, and you do yourself a disservice when you change your being because of somebody else. When you change who you are because of somebody else's opinion or how somebody else makes you feel, You know how you are, and if you're going to make changes to yourself, you're going to do it for you and nobody else. And I think that that's the perfect recap for 2023 and that energy to carry us forward into 2024. So I think it's time we transition to the segment that is the channeling for the new year. So we let the elves come in and the frequency of inspiration shine through me and allow them to speak to the collective all for what we can expect, what guidance they have, what inspiration they have to share. Okay, it's time we start. And I don't know which elves want to come through to talk. Although I do feel like it is the Cheif Elfian Warrior. But I feel all of them very strongly wanting to come forth. I had in the past year, so I mean from like November 2022 to November 2023, learning when I need tools and support and when I don't. And I think that that's also something that we're learning as a collective, is when we need these little things to help us and when we don't, when we feel high enough energetically that we can tap in and tune in without needing all the extra sparkle, and the days that we need the sparkle. And having it, not having it, isn't an indication of where you are on your journey, just an indication of how you feel and what you need. And if you need something, you need something. And if you don't need something, you don't need something. And it's as simple as that. So, in the moment, I think of going back to when I first started doing channelings and just keep on opening the book. Opening the book I channeled, and because I feel like that's one of the reasons I created it, was as a tool for me, to help me when I'm doing channelings, but then also feeling like I can gauge things enough on my own, at least today, to feel like I can gauge who wants to come through. And just because warrior has been said so much, I can feel the Cheif Elfian Warrior wanting to come through. Also, he's wanting to come through for me, and sometimes the elves that come through are because they want to help me, and that's why they come through. So let's see. They want me to share about the crystals around, because they're crystals that will help us in the upcoming year. So this is serpentine, so intuition and psychic ability awakening and tapping into yourself. And for me, it's my soul crystal. And if you don't know what I'm saying when I say that, there is a blog and video out about crystalline connections, where the cosmic Elfian elemental elder kind of talks about them in different ways, kind of the different perspective. And also it's interesting for me to kind of see how verbal channeling versus written channeling, how that differs. So if you're interested in also seeing that, check it out. Charite. This crystal came to me right after my birthday when I was in Nashville, and I looked for it everywhere. And after I saw it, and I was like, I should have gotten it. And then I found it a month later in my hometown in a crystal shop, and that's when I was meant to have it. Charite also helps with like intuition, and I do feel, as much as also what the elves have said, that the crown chakra and mental body is going to go through a lot in this upcoming year, and this really does help with those higher chakras. Yellow jasper, the solar plexus. Snowflake obsidian, truly harmonious connections and healing trauma, of course. Selenite cleansing, clear quartz clarity. Ametrine is the in-between state between one thing and another, where you are something beautiful you're becoming something beautiful because of where you started, and becoming something beautiful because of where you're going and your own unique phase. And you don't need to be citrine or amethyst to be something special. And that's also in January. That's that whole symbiotic relationship that was channeled earlier today is that. So that video, you'll see it soon. And tiger's eye, self-confidence. So Of course, that self-confidence card is really, really proving to be accurate. So, safe and protected, nothing and no one can access me nor my energy without my permission. I'm surrounded by divine light and love. And I call upon, oh, and the head healer, she's like kind of knocking too, so she might come forth as well, because I'm in a Reiki charged room. I'm in a room where Reiki is done, so she's definitely a very dominant energy in here. So, let's see. Cheif Elfian Warrior, Divine Masculine, Elder of the Elfian Warrior, Domain of the Elfian Realm. When I've safely stepped back, you may step forth. Hello. It took her a little while to be ready to reunite with the sun, and that is also a symbiotic relationship to how you all have been feeling about getting back to your soul center and beginning, where you came from as a soul and where you're inevitably going to be going. Where you came from as a soul is your soul source, and that is connecting with source again. So coming forth in the year of 2024, becoming your own independent self while having the light of your source around you is imperative. The energy of wanting to be independent from the father, independent from the mother, and dependent from the paternal energy, the maternal energy from the parent energy, is something that all souls experience in all phases of their existence, incarnating in the physical and even in the spiritual realm. The need for independence and free will and figuring out your own journey and your own experiences and allowing others that come from you to do the same. But remembering where you came from and who you are as a being, remembering where your light center comes from and carrying it with you is important. You don't want to be hyper-independent. Being hyper-independent is not allowing yourself to have connection to any guidance system whatsoever. Hyper-independence is hyperly ignoring advice, support, and love from the sage, from the wise, from the elder energy, and from source light. So allowing yourself to be independent with the support of the sage higher beings from beyond the veil and those incarnating in the physical as well. However, it is important to exercise your independence and take freedom leaps. Take leaps of freedom knowing you have the support in the blanket of those with you, those who've passed on, those currently incarnating, and those beyond the veil who have never incarnated before, who are higher beings of light and love to support you. Knowing you have that blanket, knowing you have that cushion, and knowing you have that support, having your back and carrying you, your guardian angels at your side, can offer the support to have higher adventure, to have more adventure, to have more freedom, to be more inclined to experience new things because you know you have something safe to fall back on if something goes wrong. So creating your safety net and your safety unit is important in the upcoming year because it is also important for all of you, especially the youth in the physical, to exercise your freedom and your ability to explore. And your root chakras might experience a trauma as a result of that if you don't have a stable home base unit because you're exploring, you're traveling, you're going through different journeys and different phases. So when you create that blanket of security, that cushion of security from support in the physical and the non-physical, from higher light and divine light and love, when you have that support unit as a cushion behind you, your root chakra feels safe because it can stabilize with the beings, with the people, and with the higher light that is your home base, even if you don't physically have a place to fully call home yet. It is also releasing the attachment that your home is a physical location necessarily. Your home is where the people are, the people that you love are. Your home is where you feel your most highest self, where you feel your highest authentic self, where you feel your soul thriving and growing, and you're able to connect with the divine, connect with source, and you feel empowered. You feel like you are a soul in a body, not a body with a soul, because you are a soul in a body. You are a soul incarnating. When you feel spiritual joy, when you feel your power, your solar plexus is singing, 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 when you feel an alignment with your purpose and your reason for being. That is the home base, and that's where the root chakra wants to place its roots. So searching for that and finding that in this upcoming year is definitely a theme that we can see happening on the polarity line, is the collective ascending to a new level because of finding their home base within higher light and love and within the spiritual, truly harmonious connections with others. Because when you have connections with others, you're not searching for those voids to be filled through substances and the things that may drain you down, through experiences that may take your energy away, like doing lower polarity things. Now, it is not necessarily a bad thing that you're doing that. It is from the lower polarity, from the negative polarity, but there is no judgment cast upon you if you do that. It is just acknowledging in yourself that you are ready for something new, that you are ready to find the light and heal, because there is nothing wrong with making a mistake. What is wrong is continuing to repeat the mistake when you know that what you're doing is wrong. That's where it comes in. That's where karma comes in. When you're acknowledging that it's wrong, but it's not that you don't know how to break free, but it's more like, oh, I don't want to, I'm just going to keep doing it anyway. And not caring about your spiritual health and your spiritual well-being. However, do not judge yourself no matter what. Releasing judgment of yourself and others. Nobody has the right to cast judgment upon you, and technically you have no right to cast judgment upon others. It's just you're experiencing life, they're experiencing life, and the only thing you really should be concerned with is your own relationship with karma, your own relationship with your soul, your own relationship with your ascension journey, your own relationship with self, and where you are going to fall on the polarity line when you transition out of the physical, where your energy is going to fall, and who you are going to be, and who you are going to become. Because you can start from a place of doing lower frequency things and become a teacher, a spiritual teacher. You can evolve, you can ascend, you can grow, you can develop, and you are actually going to become stronger from it, because overcoming that, knowing you were trapped in a lower frequency and overcoming the hold of the 7 deadly concepts to ascend into something new, into a healer, into a teacher, into a higher vibration version of you, that is a beautiful journey, and that is something that is going to sit on your karmic balance as they overcame. They are stronger. They are a beautiful soul that overcame where they were before and became something even more beautiful, even more powerful. So remember that. That doesn't matter where you started, it just matters where you end. Now, as well as that is also the energetic theme of understanding what resonates and what does not, and releasing what doesn't resonate. And that also includes spiritual practices, beliefs, and where you fit in society, and which societies you feel like you fit into, and which realities you feel like you don't. And choosing to be where it resonates. That started in 2023 and is going to carry you forward into the next solar year. Now, I also want to touch on the fact of kindness and compassion and how those energies have started to evolve over time and how they can help you. Now, remember that if you are sacrificing yourself to be kind to somebody else, then that is not kindness, that is people-pleasing, and that is a soul sacrifice. Remember that if it's truly coming from an unconditional place of divine light and love, then it's a truly harmonious connection. It's an eternal loving friendship. It is equal. So if you are suffering because of kindness you are doing, because you are draining yourself and giving all your energy to somebody else, but you feel like they need it, you're doing a disservice to yourself. So remember, truly harmonious connections do not drain your energy. And if your energy is continually being drained and someone is taking all the time, you're doing both parties a disservice by allowing it to continue to happen. It is important to speak your truth, speak your authenticity, set boundaries, and you can develop an eternal loving friendship. You can develop truly harmonious connections with those people if you have those conversations and both people are receptive to them. You don't have to stay in a situation or a circumstance just because you don't know what your life is going to be like without it, and because you are afraid, because you might not have anywhere else to go. Having faith and trusting that the universe and source and the creator and your guardian of the earth, God, and angelic mother Gaia will be there as support, will guide you, will teach you, will show you where to go, even if you don't have the financial means or you think that you don't. Don't think from a place of lack, think from a place of abundance, and that's going to help set you free from the limitations of fear and anxiety and worry if you think from a place of abundance and gratitude. And I'm also hearing from the divine timing Elfian elementals who do a lot of work with the frequency of time, telling you not to rush things and to allow things to happen when they're meant to happen. It's really important to loosen your grip on the universe. So more things will happen for you. More things will happen when you're not trying, really. When you're not trying to control it. When you're just being a being without trying to control every little outcome. And with that, that's all I really sense and see, and the only messages that us as the Elfian realm have to deliver to all of you for the upcoming year. That, as well as be prepared for change. And the changes may happen subtly. And so if you're worried that no change is happening, really reflect and look, because sometimes change isn't loud. Sometimes change and development isn't earth-shattering, it's not an earthquake, it's not dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, and it's as simple as a flower blooming quietly without making a noise, but one day you notice that there's a flower there. So, stop and smell the roses. Notice the little things. So when you notice the little things, you'll see just how much everything has changed. Don't be afraid of change. Because you, as beings of the tree of life, as beings of life, as the beings of life, are meant to experience life. And thus, change and development. Now we might sound like a broken record, and that could be because the message is clear at this time for the past year, and moving forward. Change is inevitable, and it's important to allow it to occur. And we're not going to tell you that things are going to be sunshine and rainbows, because they're not going to be. Because life isn't sunshine and rainbows, it's everything. It's the winter, it's the summer, it's the spring, it's the fall. It's the rain, it's the snow, it's the sunny days. What we have observed as beings of inspiration is that life is everything. And how you experience life in this year is truly up to you, and what reality you're going to create with your manifestation abilities, and what your creativity and intuition is going to allow you to do. I would also like to note that it is imperative to cleanse your spiritual habits and the practices that you do. Look at them and look at what serves you, what resonates, and let go what doesn't. And also look at who you're following. Look at the leaders, look at the spiritual teachers, look at the influencers. How are they influencing you? Do you feel better and more soul-fulfilled? Or do you feel like you're losing a part of yourself and fragmenting your soul, paying attention to the gossip, paying attention to the drama, going on your phone and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling? Do you feel like you're losing a part of yourself? That maybe you may be fragmenting your soul to technology or to people who have never met you. And that is the case for the majority of the population. And so it's also time to call back your missing soul fragments from the ideas and the media and the entertainment that you fragment yourself to because you put too much of your energy and focus into it. Because your focus and your thought and your word hold so much power. And what you focus on, that's what your soul goes into. And sometimes it does not feel fulfilled. Because you won't fragment your soul if you're doing a soul-fulfilling task. If you're doing something that's on purpose, on mission, in your inspiration. Because that's what you're meant to be doing. You fragment it when you're doing something that doesn't resonate. Yet you continue to do it anyway. Because you don't know how to break free. How you break free is by having enough self-love and compassion for yourself to identify what doesn't feel right. And taking the courage, taking the leap of faith to stop. Thank you, Cheif Elfian Warrior, for that message. I saw a lot of visuals, but a lot of them were unclear. It's almost as if in the tarot deck when we get the World card and we can go in any direction, and really the most likely outcome isn't clear based on the energy because it could be anything. That's kind of what I was shown. That even they don't know. Even the beings of inspiration beyond the veil, even if I try my hardest to look at it, we can see some overarching themes. But what's really going to occur is up to us. And if we as a collective set the intention together to manifest more awakening, more healing, more peace, more love, if we set that intention, that's what we can create in the year. That's what we focus on. And if we as a collective are mainly focusing on materialism and attracting money for selfish reasons or for material things, if we as a collective are focusing on, I don't want to say narcissistic things, but more like things that aren't soul-fulfilling, things that aren't spiritual joy, if we're all focusing on that, that's what we're going to create. And we're going to create a lot of distractions if we're manifesting distractions. We're going to create a lot of sleepwalking if we're manifesting sleepwalking. And by that I mean souls not aware of what's going on and not aware of who they are and what they're meant to do. But if we all set the intention, if even a group of us, even if 30 people sit together in a circle and we're setting the intention that what we want to manifest and what we want to create is spiritual abundance and joy, we want to create the freedom to travel, then we're going to manifest all of these things coming forth to us. The financial means to live, not just survive, will come to us. But that's not the intention we're setting forth is for money, but for travel, for joy, for freedom, for connection. We set that intention that that's what we're going to create, a world where things are easily accessible, but not easily accessible in the means of technology, but as in culture, connection with others, healing, development, peace. That's what we can create if we're focusing our intention on it. And the more people start awakening to that, that's going to make every year lead us closer to ascending into higher dimensional frequencies. And that's the key. So, I think that wraps it up, but, you know, I've been doing card pulls at the end of these segments, even though that was a channeling. Let's see if there's anything else, because the head healer, she was kind of wanting to say something, but she didn't want to come through in, like, a channeling form, so maybe she can tell me through these, the head Elfian healer. Oh, there we go. Oh, that sounds like her. Kindness counts, and that's what he said. He was talking about kindness. I don't know exactly what he was saying. It's been a little while since he stepped forth and communicated to the collective. He's been very busy working. He hasn't even come forth to me. The elders have been so busy working on the polarity lines, working with frequencies, and just beings of inspiration that, you know, they haven't stepped forth as much. But they're going to do it more coming forth in this next year. Kindness counts, pretty self-explanatory, and express your feelings. And that's the communication body. So really what I'm saying is heart chakra and communication body, and the middle minor body system between the two that, you know, creates the cosmic heart, you know, our connection with the cosmic heart, our higher heart chakra, not the cosmic heart, but our higher heart chakra that is connected to the cosmic heart is our relationship. And also kindness, eternal loving friendships, developing eternal loving friendships. Elves. They are the beings of eternal loving friendships as well. They're here to guide us to them, to inspire us to find them. Truly harmonious connections are, you know, the basis of eternal loving friendships. So finding them through kindness, and that prompt came to me so much in the past week is what is kindness? And selflessness, compassion, love for yourself and for others, doing things because it feels right, not because you feel obligated to do it, doing things without obligation, without conditions, unconditionally, but mainly because it feels right. You're doing it because you feel this love and you feel this joy that you want to help, and you're feeling inspired and soul fulfilled by doing it. Because when you feel obligated to do it, it's not necessarily kindness anymore, it's more like a chore. So it's what you feel called to do. And expressing your feelings. Again, pretty self-explanatory, but what I can hear her saying, and she said she'll step through and do a channeling in the future. She has lots to share, but there's a lot of group collective healing going on. So she's obviously being an elder and guardian over the little elves, doing their healing work and working with the angels and Raphael, especially on the start of a new year, because it's, you know, we're all collectively celebrating, and so it's the perfect time because we're all celebrating, we're all in that energy of joy for mass healing to come through. But what she's saying is when we aren't expressing our feelings, we are causing ourselves to go out of alignment, and learning to express our feelings in a way that is kind to us and kind to others is key. So with that, we conclude this video. So Happy New Year. And I've included an affirmation and a prayer that came through to me for the year, for the end of the year, and for the beginning of the next year. So that's going to play on the next slides, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy New Year. See you in 2024.